All right, welcome back to Liquidity and Liquor. Today we're talking about Pornhub.
Pornhub, the business model.
The business model. They were just acquired by a Canadian private equity firm.
You're Canadian.
I am.
And
I wasn't part of that acquisition.
You're not playing, you're not
I know, I didn't invest in Pornhub.
in Pornhub as an actor or
no,
something?
never.
You sure? Okay.
No, I didn't get any buyout from
Right.
So it's actually funny because the company that bought them, what's the name of the private
before we get
equity
there,
firm?
let me ask you, do you know why is it that Pornhub is only dedicating itself for porn movies?
Yeah.
And suddenly OnlyFans showed up and you don't see any overlap where Pornhub was not trying to take away any of the
Different
webcam
business
girls
model.
and like
Different
why
business model.
you know why they don't have webcam girls and then suddenly OnlyFans started?
I don't know.
Okay, so I watched a documentary. It's not like I was sitting researching it. There's a documentary on Netflix.
I know. I haven't watched it yet.
It actually explains and it breaks that. Now I understand why it's like that. So they used to do it, and they used to have cam girls over there. Some of the girls that had their own content had also the ability to make money where they're doing live cam with them, and they would do revenue share. And what happened was there was a lot of controversy. So the
Why?
Visa, we'll get to it in a second. Visa, MasterCard, all the big ones decided to ban them from payment processing. So what happened was you couldn't go and give them money. So all the money that they were making was ads on their porn site, right? And then in that case, that's how all the other cam girls started in different websites, and the big winner in the space was obviously OnlyFans. And you say, well, why didn't they ban OnlyFans? Well, here's why. OnlyFans, a girl wants to go and make money. OnlyFans takes revenue, and that's it. With Pornhub was a big issue, because if you wanted to dump, this is kind of like a marketplace. You had some video with your girlfriend. You broke up with her. You hate her because you found out she was cheating on you. You can put the videos of both of you over there. You can even blur your face, put her video over there, and you can just leave it on it. Now, the founders has experience in SEO. So let's just say your ex-girlfriend named Mariah Rodriguez. Google her name. She find herself on Pornhub because they optimize everything for her name, for that name.
Like the real name.
The real name. And without her consent, they would just have that video on it. And if she wanted to go and remove the video, it was like asking to remove it from, it was impossible. And you could keep submitting the video, you would get it back up. For her to get the movie off, it would take lots of hard work, weeks and months of fighting. For you to get it back on, it would take you a second. So
that's not good.
There were cases where there are girls that were raped, and it was videotaped, and it was one particular girl that was on the documentary that was 13 years old. She was raped. Her video kept popping up.
It's rape and underage child.
And underage, everything, boom, keeps coming back up. And she would have to fight again, and they would put it back on.
I think I heard this story.
It was horrible, right? And once you're hearing the story, you kind of like hear two sides. You hear the porn stars were like, look, this is a legitimate business. We're not doing anything wrong. What do you want from us?
Yeah.
And then you have the victims where they're just random people that they didn't want their videos to be there, even if it was consensual to shoot the video, but it wasn't consensual to put it for everybody. And that was the case. Now, not to even mention all the many porn companies that their content was stolen, that they paid a lot of money and it was on it. Just let's look at the victims. So it came to a point that there was just so much anger against them. Now, reality is, it doesn't matter if they removed it from Pornhub. There are 100 other sites, thousands of other sites that would use this. It was the biggest, but there are plenty of other sites that content can be circulated.
Do you know the
there.
revenue?
They never disclosed the revenue. Okay. I don't think. Maybe they have hundreds of millions. It wasn't billions, from what I remember. It was either the profits was hundreds of millions or the revenue. Okay. It was hundreds of millions. And then it was just a very tough time for them. So they could never get approval from credit card companies, but it was now sold to a private equity. And all they had to do was a verification of let me know who you are before you submit something. But they just decided to, no, we're going to have a team of 13 people, if I remember correctly, that will check all the complaints.
13 people?
That's it.
Holy shit.
Something around that. I might maybe 30, but it was a small amount. People. No, exactly, it wasn't. They said, look, Facebook has 15,000 people checking. So I'm not asking you to be Facebook, but you have more traffic than Facebook on your porn site.
Oh my God.
So then how can you go and just allow people to submit content so freely? If you're a verified person, I know who you are. I know.
Because OnlyFans, you got to verify. You got to verify with your ID.
You have to verify with something.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, so that was the thing? They just wouldn't verify with your ID?
Free content, let's go.
That's stupid.
Oh, you want to remove it? Okay, submit, and then you go through a bunch of...
And when Visa, MasterCard said, we're not going to let you process payments anymore, they didn't... It was like they wouldn't start doing that?
Most of the revenue was anyway from ads.
So they're just like, oh, forget about it.
So then don't worry about it. And then they said, okay, we're not going to make money over there, but let's just continue and everything else.
But still, that doesn't solve the problem that people could still upload other people's content.
That does not solve the problem. And I feel like if you ask me, the major challenge is not the request for them. The request is, how do you find those sites? On Google. Why is Google allowing the other sites to be searched over there? All the other... Look, Google basically said, we're not doing any content related to porn. They kind of like pushed themselves out. But you can find it with us if you're looking for it. So then, if you can be the internet service provider, and then you can say, well, you have some sketchy ones in maybe Indonesia or maybe not, whatever. Excuse me, Indonesia or whatever. Some parts where it's very hard to challenge them legally.
Yeah.
Right? But Google can go and remove them. And if you're not in Google, you're nowhere. So why is Google not getting challenged for that? Google can be challenged, absolutely, and I guess no one thought about this. The only thing I was looking at this, like, okay, I understand the porn stars because they were harassed and they had nothing to do with that. They did nothing wrong. That was their job. They were okay. The problem was all the hate went towards the CEOs of Pornhub, which I understand that, but it needed to go to Google because you have thousands of sites like this. Porn is just one site. If it goes down, they'll forget about him tomorrow. And then
that's what they were the loudest. They were the biggest. And when people are upset, they go after the people that they can see. They're not thinking of Google.
But Google will allow you to find Maria Gonzalez on the search results, and they would continue promoting the site that have that. Instead of saying, well, unless you show me that your content is moderated in a place that there is no teen underage or non-consensual or so on, then you're not going to be on our search results. You're going to see them all aligned.
You know, that's sad because whoever the lawyer is representing her, they should have educated her that they can go after Google.
Well, they did not.
I know that. Obviously, I don't know the story.
But I wonder why.
I wonder why too. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
But that was their business model where it's kind of like a marketplace. And there is an interesting part where a marketplace, a lot of things are allowed kind of like when you're an oversized umbrella for everything. When I was, if you think about this, a marketplace for BoxyCharm, when I was putting everyone's products in it, I had to still be compliant. If there was a product that was harmful, I had to go and take responsibility.
Yeah.
I couldn't put. I had a compliance
you're the Google
department
for beauty products.
Yeah, I had to make sure I don't put any poisonous products in my box. I had a regulatory compliant person in my office making sure it's okay. As you grow, you start learning.
Google should take more responsibility for that. And you know what? I actually do believe that if there was a case that was executed against one particular entity like Pornhub and she won in favor,
it needs to be for everybody.
It should be, listen, this case just happened. All right, okay, we're scrubbing the internet of this particular search. I think that's very smart.
But that's the thing. I don't think anything actually went through the legal parts all the way through. I mean, it's hard. I don't remember the whole documentary, but I don't think there was an actual case that closed.
Even if there was
a judgment, and it was in Canada anyway, because you had to go to Canada. So there was an American government organization, or that was trying to challenge them, but because it was in the U.S., it wasn't in Canada, then they didn't even have to respond.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very sad. I didn't know that.
But once you watch the movie, you actually you understand also the porn industry side, where the porn industry per se is not necessarily doing something bad. It was the fact that they made it kind of like was the technology part behind it. Like
it was a greedy, lazy company.
Yeah, you made it purposely hard to remove anything, but very easy to submit content.
Wow. Yeah. Well, now they were just bought by a private equity firm.
Yeah.
So,
well. Good for them.
Good for them. All right. Okay, that's it for today. If you enjoyed, please subscribe on YouTube. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can download and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts or on liquidityandliquor.com.